Moving to praise.
Going to praise, Jill. Okay. I loved how the story was cyclical and pretty much ended where it had started. I thought that was just so genius. I would never have thought to do something like that. And I thought that it was done well, how like practically had the same thought process he did the first time.
He really did.
Yeah.
It was almost...
I mean,
exactly
even the
the
instructor was saying the same stuff. Like, come on, kid, you paid for this. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And even calling him kid, like...
But I think what I liked is that it was different enough that it wasn't like just copy and pasted.
Yeah.
So you could tell that there was an amnesia thing going on, but it was close enough that it would be the innate feeling.
Also, I like how we got a little bit of characterization from other characters through Todd, because we get how his friend's truck is dirty, and then after he has the amnesia, he starts to list things that he likes about his friends. And we didn't get that before the amnesia. Yeah. So I thought that was great characterization.
The dirty car.
Dirty car.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
And how he liked that. Not just that his friend's car was dirty, but he liked that it was dirty.
Before that, he didn't like that.
Yeah.
Like before the amnesia, he's like, you really need to clean your car.
Yeah.
I thought it was so good.
Yeah, I think she did a good job in the characterization, and I love how she tried to blend in the teenagers, their behavior, their actions, what they say, how she tried to incorporate that, So it's like she did not try to compromise it at all. At least, she really went full out, to really expose the reader to those things. So I love that part of it. Yeah, it's not too much of adult conversation. It's all about teenagers and what they say, what their adventures. Yeah. Just nice.
Definitely normal teenagers. Picking on each other.
Yeah.
It's friendly. I think the one thing that I really liked was the fear. How they all seemed to be born of something. Yeah. They weren't just random, irrational fears. I mean, the one thing that I was confused about was that his friends kept pointing out that they were irrational, but I thought they were totally rational. He saw someone die out of a cannon, so that's why he's afraid to go to circuses. I'd be afraid to go to circuses too. But I loved that they were all born from something, because that's real. That's fear is all born from experience.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's
verisimilitude. It was real.
I mean, if anybody has ever seen a series of unfortunate events, and the aunt who just has all these irrational fears, like they're not even born of anything. She's like, I just have a fear that the doorknob will heat up and shatter and the glass will go in my eye and I'll go blind. I'm like,
she watched too many Home Alone videos.
And I'm just like, well, that's so irrational. And here we're not seeing that. We're seeing like these fears are born of something.
Yeah.
So, and I just thought that's realistic. That's verisimilitude. And so I was just confused why his friends kept calling it irrational.
I was too.
Even though it was obviously rational.
Yeah, I think they may say something, not that they are not afraid of anything, but they said they have been able to control their fear. That's what they said allegedly. So they have never allowed themselves to be subjected to the fear, but rather they are able to control it. But Todd could not do that. So he allowed his fears to control him. So I think that's what they were trying to make clear to him.
I agree with that. It's, the irrational part is not so much the fear, I think, that is being pinpointed, but his reaction to the fear. I think is what they're saying is irrational.
That's a good point.
I also really like the characterizations of his friends, how it's kind of tragic how they seem to really be helping him, but they cause him to be concussed and lose his memory. And that's kind of like real friends. Like, it may not literally happen, but they will hurt you when they're trying to help you. So that was verisimilitude.
Yeah,
also.
That's true. I like that.
Because my friends are terrible, but they're great.
She's talking to you, Jill.
Yes,
talking to you.
That's on YouTube. Any other praises? Did you say your praise yet?
I really like the contrast of atmosphere, how there were different settings, but the tone stayed so consistent in the story. It was lighthearted and sassy. I really like that about the story.
Yeah, I love the mood too, because like the hospital mode is different from how they call it in the plane and trying to do a bungee jump or so. At least it was quite different from that. And then even when they dug the hole for him, at least all those the moods were kind of different. So befitting every scene. And so at least she did a very good job at that too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll go next.
So suggestions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Suggestions.
I felt like for the hospital scene,
Mm-hmm.
the verisimilitude was
Hospital scene was a little wonky.
Wacky, right?
yeah, it was iffy. I felt like what normally would happen is the doctor would take the parents aside, explain what's wrong, what's going on, and then he would go in and talk separately with the patient with the parents there, instead of having everybody there and talking to them and not telling the patient what's wrong with him. So I thought that was a little wonky. Also in the flashback, that was so confusing. Flashback, like in the beginning of the flashback was confusing. I'm like, who was talking? Who is this person? Why is this person coming? What is going on? But I think what she was trying to capture was just getting ready to go out and how busy and everybody is, and like, when's the babysitter coming? Oh, these people are coming too. We need to wait for them. Like, when are they getting here? Like, she captured that well, but I was just so confused. I'm like,
I think she captured it too well, because those are very hectic scenes, and it seemed hectic, but it was too hectic for the reader. I don't think she clarified who each person was enough for us to follow it.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I think maybe like taglines behind each of the names.
I was confused a little bit about that too.
Yeah. Is that like an aunt or an uncle, or is it Matt's parents, or was it Sophie's parents?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
And I would like more characterization on the friends. Like Mark, we don't know much about Mark, just like what he says or so, at least I wanted for her to show us more instead of telling too much. So show us more about Mark's attitude, at least maybe his physical, so that'll be much better. So you see, we know a little bit about the girlfriend. What is her name?
Sophie.
Sophie.
Yeah, we know a lot about his other
the
friends.
brunette, all this kind of thing. But the rest we don't know much. And even the parents, we don't know much about them. So if you can give us an inside view of the character, at least maybe that could enhance the story.
Okay, one thing, I love the memory loss, but I really do think it's too much of a Deus Ex Machina. I think maybe if he gets his memory back and then decides to do the plane again and goes through with it, I think that would be good. But I feel like I still can't, I know it's innate, but I still can't get over that it takes away some of his power over his fears, because he can't remember them.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Because the fears are the point of the story.
Yeah.
And he loses them, and anybody would be afraid to jump out of a plane, but he has a real fear for a reason that he doesn't remember.
So yeah, just like, it is a Deus Ex Machina in a different type of way, but it is one. And I don't know how to suggest to fix that. I don't know how that would be fixed.
Another thing that I was thinking about was, we know about Todd's fears, but we don't know much about Todd. Like, is he a complete scaredy cat? Is he afraid to step on the cracks in the sidewalk? Or are these just like random? Because these are kind of big things. Like, not things he would run into every day. So is he a complete scaredy cat where things that he does every day hit him, and he's like, whoa, don't step on that crack. You might break your mom's back. Or is it just like, I don't want to be taken to a cemetery, so I don't get buried alive. I don't want to pay money to go up in a plane and jump out of it.
Yeah.
Or are they like small things and he's just a jumpy character?
Yeah. That's good. We don't get a lot of...
Because I feel like that would be a good reason for his friends to make him face his fears. Yeah. If he has fears over small things, the greater things would seem more realistic for them to face.
Yeah.
I think.
Something else that I noted was that there weren't a lot of sensory details.
Okay.
Especially like when they're up in the plane. Like, it's loud up there, especially with the door open, and we get none of that. So I feel like we should like get some description of the loud roaring, how his ears hurt, how they're popping, how the wind feels on his face and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then also, Matt and Sophie were talking while they were skydiving. Not realistic.
Yeah, no. Unless they had like earpieces.
I don't think.
Which
I
feel like only the instructors would
yeah.
have the earpieces.
Yeah.
I picked up on that too.
Yeah, it was.
Whispering it.
It'd be really creepy if she didn't hear that. All she heard was, I'm whispering.
I thought there was such a focus on dialogue that other methods of characterization, like you guys were saying, were kind of non-existent. So just more of a well-roundedness with all the characters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue throughout the story, and it is distinct. Like you can tell.
You can definitely tell which character is saying what,
Mhm.
and that's good.
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah.
Especially because like some people are sarcastic, other people, like his girlfriend, whose name I can't remember. She gets overwhelmed with despair when she finds out that like he doesn't remember. She's like, "Is there any way we can make him remember?" And Matt is just being sarcastic the whole time, so
Yeah.
you know who's talking.
Yeah.
I think that's good characterization, but then I want to see more like even appearance. We don't know what any of them look
Yeah.
like except for his girlfriend,
Except his
who's long
girlfriend,
brown hair.
They're like floating voices.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no body.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of body. And he falls into a hole. Where's the body?
What do you mean? Where's the body?
Like, was there? You have the story.
Wait, do you mean?
I was really confused when he wipes out. Like, I thought at first that he passed out, but because you don't see him actually
no.
trip.
Yeah, I thought that like he passed out from fear.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
what I
that's
thought.
what happened.
Yeah.
So I guess like, wait, what are you asking though? Like, where's the body? I don't
Like,
know.
there's not a lot of, like, I think you said sensory detail, right?
Mhm.
There's, or somebody said sensory detail. I don't know. There's not a ton of sensory detail other than, like, the dialogue, which is a sensory detail.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, at first I wasn't sure. Are they like, did they go to a cemetery and like dig up an actual grave? Like at first I didn't know. So,
I think they did go to a cemetery.
I don't know. They kept saying park. So I don't know. Clarify that, Jill. Do that.
I think one thing that kind of threw me off was why was his girlfriend munching on a potato?
I know.
I
I was
know.
like, you're.
That's characterization in itself, but it's random. There was no explanation. It was just she's munching on a potato in the corner.
Yeah.
It just threw me off a little bit. I don't know what to think about that.
I feel like, I mean, first, I think it'd be good to know, like, how long was he passed out? If it was just, like, a few minutes, and, like, they weren't really worried, like,
Well,
it's
they
just-
said, the doctor says a week at some point. Like, he hasn't made any signs for a week.
Okay, so then I'd be like, if it was only, like, a few minutes that he was passed out, and, like, everything was casual, and she'd just be munched on a potato, fine. But, I mean, like, he's been in a coma for a week.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be by my boyfriend's bedside munching on a potato. I'd be there holding his hand, just staring at him, talking to him, like, wake up. So, I don't know.
I mean, I'm a stress eater, so I might actually be eating something. But munching on a potato might not be something I would do.
The big potato.
Baked potato, yeah.
Verisimilitude was off.
All right, one more minute. What are your final thoughts? Final suggestions?
Anything?
Thank you for a good job.
Yeah, no, it was a good story. I think that it has really great potential.
Thank you.
Just it still needs work, like every story does.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do. Yeah.
Deborah, did you get to say all your stuff?
Yeah, pretty much. Like you guys said, a lot of things.
We tend to repeat each other.
That's
That's
good.
what happens.
We like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.